I aspire to deal with my responsibilities as frequently as Ty Segall puts out albums. I wonder how many of the same people who trash on the Beatles and unironically peddle Piero Scaruffi's essays to seem above it all and better curators of music than y'all are the same people who would give this new Ty Segall album anything above a 7. Not that it wouldn't deserve that, but I guess I'm just being a smartass about saying that Segall's latest album is as Beatlesy as it gets, more than ever before. If you like the Beatles a lot, then that's good news for you. With the spicy Freedom Band backing the retro-styled rock connoisseur, Ty Segall bellows out his longest and most ambitious and most stylistically diverse album yet, like a full realization of his career so far. To put things clear, I like the Beatles, especially during their maximalist, grandiose era, including albums like Revolver and Sgt. Pepper, of which Segall takes big inspiration from multiple times on this album, as opposed to something like 2016's Emotional Mugger, which is more akin to the result if he'd listened to Revolution number 9 100 times. But on Freedom's Goblin, so often does it come close to those styles of retro-leaning, sepia-tinted garage and psych rock to the point where I'm often thinking I may as well be listening to Revolver or Sgt. Pepper, even a bit of the White Album in there. And even, let's say, I wasn't familiar with the Beatles and took this album for what it is, there are still an abundance of tracks that kick off with great riffs and infectious melodies, but they drag them out to the point where they lose steam, where they tire out, especially with tracks like Shoot You Up, which just sounds dead in the water. Thankfully, this issue doesn't come until much later in the album, and the opener Fanny Dog offers up meaty guitars and even meatier brass sections. It sounds huge, it sounds rich, and that chorus will be stuck in my head for a long time. In many songs I was almost surprised to hear Ty almost sound like Tom York, as if he were expelling the last of his falsetto balladry demons from his lungs. The man can sing, and he does it well, it just totally comes close to a few familiar frequencies of famous vocalists. Rain starts out as a Tom York ballad, but once the band starts backing him, it becomes much more like a song off Magical Mystery Tour. I hate to be making such trite comparisons, but it's as if these songs come directly from these artists and eras and albums. It's uncanny, and I really cannot shake these feelings off. When more credit is due, it's given to the cracking and frankly arousing cover of a Hot Chocolate song, the weeping guitar solos on Alta, and more generally weeping emotions of Cry Cry Cry. The Last Waltz is also a fun track that becomes more volatile and frantic with each raise of the tempo, like it's spiraling out of control. However, one of the biggest stunners on this album is the final track, taking its motif to the greatest heights it possibly can without it accidentally becoming a song in a completely different genre. It grows and swells like my hopes for the rest of the record, but then the album ends. To be honest, I like this Ty Segall album a lot, and it'd be silly for me to not give the credit when it's most due. It's so often that he'll offer up, at the very least, an entertaining first 30 seconds on every song. 6 out of 10.